7 days ago, I was a ghost in my own life, trapped in a haze of exhaustion, my days bleeding into a gray smear of routine. I'd wake late, stumble through tasks, collapse into bed with a vague ache of, is this it? Then, like a thunderclap splitting the fog, 7 habits roared into my existence and flipped everything I knew upside down. 1 week. That's all it took to claw my way from numb drift to electric awakening. I get it, it sounds like hype, a pitch you'd scroll past with a smirk. But I'm standing here, heart pounding, swearing this isn't the shallow fluff clogging your feed. These are 7 brutal, beautiful habits I grafted onto my soul, wrestling doubt until it broke, tasting revelations that burned, and stepping out transformed. A phoenix from my own ashes. I'm not just eager to share this, I'm desperate. Because if these could resurrect me, they can ignite you too. Craving productivity that doesn't fizzle by noon, a mind that's not a battlefield, a morning you don't dread. These habits are your weapons. So grind some fresh coffee, dark, bitter, bold, sink into your comfiest spot and brace yourself. Don't skim, don't drift. These aren't abstract musings. They're gritty, detailed blueprints you can wield today. I'm ripping open my story, every raw stumble, every soaring win, to show you how it worked. We're going deep, starting now. Let's do this. Habit 1. Waking up early. Let's kick things off with waking up early. A habit that sounds simple but hit me like a freight train of revelation. I'll be straight with you, I was the king of late mornings. My bed was my fortress, the snooze button my loyal knight. I'd roll out of bed at the last possible second, bleary-eyed, fumbling through a chaotic morning. Spilled coffee on my shirt, keys lost in the couch, already behind before the day began. It was a cycle of stress I didn't even question until I decided to experiment. What if I claimed the morning for myself? I set my alarm for 5 a.m., a leap from my usual 8 a.m. stumble. Day 1 was a battle. My body rebelled, my mind whined. This is torture. I dragged myself up, brewed a coffee I barely tasted, and sat there wondering if I'd lost my mind. Day 2 wasn't much better. Groggy, grumpy, questioning my life choices. But by day 3, something clicked. I stepped outside with my coffee, the world still dark, and felt this eerie, beautiful stillness. No cars honking, no phone pinging, just silence and the faint chirp of waking birds. It was like I'd stumbled into a secret realm where time slowed down and I could breathe. That's when I started building a morning ritual. I'd stretch for 15 minutes, nothing fancy, just enough to loosen my stiff joints and wake my body up. Then I'd jog around the block, the cool air snapping me alert. Back home, I'd sit by the window with a notebook, meditating for 10 minutes, focusing on my breath, letting thoughts drift like clouds, and jotting down 3 intentions for the day. Stay calm in meetings, finish that report, call mom. This wasn't just extra time, it was sacred time. I'd cook a real breakfast, eggs, toast, a sliced orange, and eat it slowly, tasting every bite instead of gulping it down in the car. By the time 7 a.m. rolled around, I wasn't just awake, I was in control. One morning sealed the deal. I climbed to my apartment's rooftop, coffee in hand, and watched the sunrise. The sky shifted from inky black to a soft purple, then exploded in gold. I stood there, awestruck, as the city stirred below. A wave of gratitude hit me, not just for the view, but for the quiet power of starting my day on my terms. The Stoics would call this seizing the day's reins. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Waking up early gave me that power, a buffer against the chaos. It's not about becoming a morning robot. It's about crafting a launch pad for your day. If 5 a.m. sounds insane, start with 6:30 or even 15 minutes earlier than usual. Ease into it. Experiment for a week. You might find, like I did, that those early hours become your sanctuary, a space to think, feel, and set the tone for everything that follows. Habit 2, daily exercise. Next up, daily exercise. Confession time. I was the master of dodging workouts. My excuses were a work of art. I'm too tired after work. I don't have the gear. I'll start Monday. Meanwhile, I'd feel sluggish, stiff, and stuck in my own head. One day I hit a breaking point, tired of feeling like a lump, and committed to moving my body every day for a week. The results? Mind-blowing. I kept it doable, 20 to 30 minutes daily, mixing it up to dodge boredom. Day 1, I jogged slowly around my neighborhood, legs protesting, lungs gasping. Day 2, I tried yoga from a YouTube video, fumbling through poses like a newborn giraffe. Day 3, I hauled out some dusty dumbbells for a quick strength session. It was messy and unglamorous, sweat dripping, muscles aching, but I told myself, this is for me. By day 4, the fog lifted. I woke up with a spring in my step, my usual grumpiness replaced by a quiet buzz. My body felt alive, and my mind, sharper, lighter, like I'd shaken off a heavy coat. One moment stands out, a jog on a chilly morning. The air stunned my cheeks, my breath puffed in clouds, and the world felt wide open. Halfway through, I hit this rhythm, feet pounding, heart thumping, and my cluttered thoughts just dissolved. It was freedom, pure and simple. I got home, cheeks flushed, and realized exercise wasn't just physical, it was mental alchemy. Endorphins kicked in, stress melted, and I felt capable, strong. Yoga was another revelation. I'd scoffed at it, too slow, too woo-woo. But one evening, I unrolled a mat and gave it a shot. The instructor's voice guided me through deep breaths and stretches, and I felt my body unwind, tension seeping out. I held a warrior pose, wobbly but determined, and something shifted. I was present, rooted. By week's end, I noticed my posture straightening, my energy steadying, but the real win was emotional. Exercise became my therapy, a daily dose of self-respect. The Stoics saw the body as a tool to sharpen the mind. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." For me, exercise was wealth, strength, clarity, resilience. Start small, 10 minutes of jumping jacks, a walk at dusk, a dance party in your kitchen. Find what clicks and build on it. It's not about a perfect body, it's about a fuller life. Habit 3, journaling. Habit 3, journaling. I used to think this was for dreamy types with too much time. Definitely not for a skeptic like me. Why write when I could just think? But I gave it a week, and it turned into a cornerstone of my growth, a mirror for my soul. I started basic. A $2 notebook, a pen I liked, and 10 minutes before bed. Night 1, I sat there, blank page glaring back, feeling silly. So I scribbled the bare minimum. How my day went, fine. What annoyed me, a rude email. What I enjoyed, a killer sandwich. It was clunky, but I kept going. By night 3, the dam broke. I wrote about a dream I'd buried, traveling solo across Europe. Then a fear, failing at work. I vented about a fight with a friend, dissecting why it stung. It was like unloading a backpack I didn't know I was carrying. The deeper I dug, the more I saw. Patterns emerged, worries about things I couldn't change, like a coworker's attitude versus stuff I could tackle, like my procrastination. One night, I poured out a stressful day. A missed deadline, a tense call. Writing it down, I broke it apart. What happened, how I reacted, what I'd do next time. It wasn't just catharsis, it was clarity. I started a gratitude section too. 3 things daily. A warm shower, a funny text, the smell of fresh laundry. It rewired me to notice the small joys I'd overlooked. A standout entry, I'd snapped at my sister over something trivial. Journaling it, I saw my exhaustion, not her words, was the trigger. I apologized the next day, and that reflection saved us a rift. The Stoics would approve. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." Journaling showed me who I was and who I could be. Try it. No pressure, no rules. 5 minutes of brain dumping, joys, gripes, whatever. It's not about eloquence, it's about honesty. You'll uncover truths about yourself you didn't know were there. Habit 4, mindful eating. Habit 4, mindful eating. My old eating habits were a train wreck. Shoveling food while scrolling X, barely registering what I ate. Lunch was a blur at my desk. Dinner was Netflix and a plate I'd finish without noticing. I didn't see the toll, bloating, guilt, disconnection, until I tried eating with full attention for a week. It was a quiet revolution. Mindful eating means savoring every bite, tuning into your senses and your body. I started by banning distractions. No phone, no laptop, just me and my meal. I'd set the table, light a candle sometimes, and take 3 deep breaths to settle in. First meal, a simple salad. I chewed slowly, noticing the crisp lettuce, the tangy dressing, the crunch of cucumber. It was food I'd eaten a dozen times, but this time it sang, vivid, alive. One breakfast, I lingered over oatmeal, tasting the nutty oats, the sweet burst of blueberries. It wasn't just fuel, it was a moment. The shift went deeper. Eating slowly, I felt full sooner. No more overstuffed regret. I tuned in to how food hit me. Greasy fries left me foggy, while a veggie stir-fry lifted me up. One evening, I craved ice cream after a rough day. I paused. Hunger or comfort? I chose tea instead, and that choice felt empowering. Another time, I ate a peach so mindfully, juice dripping, sweetness exploding, that I laughed out loud at how good it was. The Stoics would see this as mastery over desire. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life." Mindful eating taught me to need less and enjoy more. Start with 1 meal daily. Sit, breathe, taste. It's not a diet, it's a reconnection to food, to yourself. Habit 5, limiting screen time. Let's talk about habit 5, limiting screen time. This one was a beast to tackle because, honestly, I was addicted. My phone was an extension of my hand. Endless X threads, YouTube marathons, late-night Netflix binges until my eyes burned. I'd check emails at 2 a.m., doom scroll news until my chest tightened and wake up groggy, wondering where my time went. It wasn't just a habit. It was a vortex sucking away my focus, my sleep, and my peace. So I drew a hard line. 1 hour of non-work related screen time daily. No exceptions. What unfolded over that week was nothing short of a personal renaissance. The first day was torture. My fingers itched for my phone. Every quiet moment felt like a void screaming to be filled. I'd catch myself reaching for it out of reflex, waiting for the kettle, sitting on the couch, even mid-conversation. I had to physically put it in another room, face down, to break the pull. By day 2, though, I noticed a crack in the dam. Time started to stretch. Without the constant digital drip, I had hours I didn't know existed. I picked up a half-read book, The Alchemist, and lost myself in its pages for an hour, something I hadn't done in months. The next night, I dusted off a sketch pad and drew a jagged city skyline, my hand shaky but alive. I even cooked a proper meal, roasted chicken with garlic and thyme, savoring the smells instead of zoning out to a screen. One evening crystallized it for me. Normally I'd collapse after dinner with a show, but instead I grabbed a jacket and walked to a nearby park. The sun was dipping low, painting the sky in bruised purples and oranges. I sat on a bench, listening to the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of crickets. No earbuds, no distractions. My mind, usually a tangle of notifications and headlines, unwound. I felt my shoulders drop, my breath deepen. It was a stark contrast to the jittery, screen-fried version of me I'd known too well. That walk became a ritual. Each night, I'd wander a little further, noticing details I'd missed. A dog chasing its tail, an old man feeding ducks, the way the air cooled as dusk settled. Sleep transformed too. I used to take my phone to bed, scrolling X or watching videos until I passed out, except I wouldn't sleep well. The blue light, the endless stimulation, left me wired, my dreams a mess of fragments. Limiting screens, I built a new wind down. A cup of chamomile tea, a few pages of poetry, Rilke became a favorite, and 10 minutes of stretching. I'd lie down and actually feel my body relax. Sleep came faster, deeper. By week's end, I woke up refreshed, not like I'd been hit by a truck. The mental shift was the real kicker. Without the barrage of news alerts or the trap of comparing my life to curated X posts, my anxiety dialed back. I stopped obsessing over what I couldn't control, global chaos, strangers' opinions, and started noticing what I could. My thoughts, my space, my choices. One afternoon, I spent 3 hours at a cafe with just a notebook. No phone, no laptop. I wrote a letter to a friend, sketched a tree outside the window, and brainstormed a project I'd shelved. Time slowed. I was present in a way screens never allowed. It was like reclaiming my mind from a digital landlord. The Stoics would cheer this. Seneca wrote, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." I'd been lavish with my hours, tossing them into the void of pixels. Limiting screen time was my rebellion, a refusal to let tech dictate my life. It's not about swearing off screens forever. It's about balance, about choosing when they serve you, not the other way around. Try it. Start with an hour less daily. Lock your phone in a drawer for a bit. See what fills the gap. Rediscover a hobby, talk to someone face to face, or just sit with your thoughts. It's uncomfortable at first. Modern life conditions us to fear silence, but that discomfort is where the growth hides. You'll find, like I did, that life beyond the glow is richer, quieter, and yours again. Habit 6, practicing Stoic reflection. Now, habit 6, practicing Stoic reflection. This one crept into my life after I picked up Marcus Aurelius's Meditations on a whim, a tattered copy from a used bookstore, its pages yellowed and dog-eared. His words hit me like a quiet thunderbolt. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. I'd been wrestling with everything lately. Work stress, a fight with a friend, even the weather, and losing every round. So I decided to try a Stoic trick. A daily reflection to sort what I could control from what I couldn't. It became my mental lifeline in a chaotic week. Here's how it worked. Every night I'd carve out 10 to 15 minutes before bed, grab my journal, and ask 3 questions. First, what went well today? Second, what could I improve? Third, what's outside my power that I need to release? I'd light a candle. Something about the flicker grounded me, and let the pen flow. Day 1, I wrote, good, finished a big report, improve, snapped at a coworker, release, worrying about tomorrow's meeting. It was simple, almost mechanical, but even that first night, I felt a weight lift, like I'd handed my worries to the page instead of carrying them to sleep. By day 3, it got deeper. I'd had a rotten day. Rain soaked my shoes, a client chewed me out, and I'd burned my dinner. I sat down, fuming, but the questions forced me to dissect it. What went well? I stayed calm during the client call, even when he yelled. What could I improve? I could have left earlier to avoid the rain, or at least brought an umbrella. What to release? The client's temper. It's his problem, not mine. Writing it out, I saw the mess wasn't all me. The rain, uncontrollable. The burned food, a distraction, not a disaster. I went to bed lighter, not stewing. One night stood out. I'd been obsessing over a friend's curt text, replaying it, wondering if I'd upset her. Reflection cut through the noise. What went well? I reached out to check in. Improve? I could have called instead of texting. Tones tricky in messages. Release? Her mood, she's got her own stuff going on. It clicked. I'd done my part. The rest wasn't mine to fix. The next day she called, chipper as ever. Turns out she'd just been swamped. Without that reflection, I'd have spun myself into a knot for nothing. This habit builds a kind of quiet toughness. Psychologically, it's like cognitive reframing, shifting your lens from victim to agent. The Stoics nailed it. Epictetus said, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Reflection draws that line daily. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about learning, letting go, and waking up freer. By week's end, I felt steadier, less rattled by life's curveballs. I'd stopped fighting the universe and started steering my own ship. Give it a whirl. 5 minutes, 3 questions. Don't overthink it, just write what comes. Maybe it's good, laughed with a stranger, improve, procrastinated again, release that rude driver. It's a compass, not a rule book. Over time, you'll spot patterns where you waste energy, where you shine, and that awareness is power. It's stoicism in action. Control your mind and the world loses its grip. Habit 7. Acts of deliberate kindness. Finally, habit 7. Acts of deliberate kindness. This one sneaked up on me. I'd been so wrapped up in my own grind, deadlines, bills, the usual, that I'd forgotten how good it feels to lift someone else. Inspired by a stoic nudge, virtue as its own reward, I decided to do one intentional kind act daily for a week. Small stuff, nothing heroic. The ripple effect? It rewrote my entire perspective. Day 1, I started easy. Left a sticky note on my partner's laptop saying, "You're killing it. Proud of you." I caught their grin later, this shy, surprised glow, and it hit me. I'd sparked joy in 10 seconds. Day 2, I held the elevator for a neighbor juggling grocery bags. She thanked me, breathless, and we ended up chatting about her cat for 5 floors. That tiny connection warmed me all morning. Another day, I bought coffee for the guy behind me at the cafe, just handed the barista an extra 5 and said, "Cover his too." His baffled, "Wait, really?" and goofy smile stuck with me. I'd turned his mundane Tuesday into a story. The peak came midweek. I was at the grocery store, tired and grumpy, when I saw an older woman struggling to reach a jar on the top shelf. Normally I'd have kept walking, head down, get in, get out. But I stopped, grabbed it for her, and asked if she needed help with anything else. She lit up, told me about her grandkids, and thanked me like I'd saved her day. Walking away, I felt this quiet surge, not pride, but purpose. It wasn't about me, it was about her moment. Yet somehow it filled me too. Psychologically, kindness is a boomerang. Studies say it boosts serotonin, that feel-good chemical, for both giver and receiver. The Stoics took it further. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears, unless you act with justice, kindness, and courage." For them, kindness wasn't fluffy, it was duty, a brick in the wall of a good life. I felt that. Each act, whether a compliment to a coworker, your idea rocked that meeting, or leaving extra change in a vending machine, chipped away at my cynicism. I started looking for chances to give, not just waiting for them. By week's end, I was hooked. My days felt fuller, not from getting, but from giving. One night I texted a friend I hadn't seen in months. "Hey, just wanted to say you're one of the best people I know." Their reply, "Dude, you have no idea how much I needed that," nearly broke me. Kindness didn't just brighten their day, it tethered us, reminded me I'm part of something bigger. Try it. One deliberate act daily. Smile at a cashier, help a stranger, leave a kind note. It's tiny but mighty. Don't expect applause. The shift inside you is the reward. Life's messy and hard, but kindness is a light you can carry and share anywhere. Conclusion. And there you have it. 7 habits that flipped my life in a week. From waking up early to spreading kindness, each one's a building block for a better you. I'm not perfect at them, but that's not the point. It's about progress, not perfection. Pick one, try it for a week, tweak it to fit your life. Share your wins or questions below. I'd love to hear from you. If this resonated, like, subscribe, and pass it along to someone who might need it. Small steps, big shifts. Let's keep growing together. Catch you next time.